Welcome or welcome back, new viewers and gamers. It is time for a new series to unused content in games, and today, since we are done with New Super Mario Bros Wii, we're going to look at the unused content in this game. So, let us start off with some pre-released information. But before we truly begin, I do gaming content like this all the time. If that's your type of thing, please consider subscribing to the channel. So free, and you can always change your mind later on. Anyways, we're going to start this one off with the timeline. Alright, 2009 June, New Super Mario Bros Wii is revealed at E3. Alright, that's pretty cool. November, New Super Mario Bros. Wii is released in North America and Europe. I do remember playing that with my older brother and my little sister back in 2009 when it first came out. Though I remember it coming out in September of that year. Whatever. Alright, June 2009, E3 demo. This trailer has a lot of differences. The HUD is quite similar to its incarnation in the retail game, but it has a few slight changes. The font used is very simple, likely a placeholder. The HUD is always transparent. It only becomes transparent if a player gets close to it in the retail game. The margin is slightly larger, causing elements to be closer to the center, and there's a lot of other things over here. So as usual, just so this doesn't drag out for too long, if you guys would like to read it for a sec, I'll let you all read it. And pause if you need to. And there's some other notable things like ice balls don't make a sound when freezing enemies, likely because the sound effect hadn't been made yet. Just wanted to point that out. But why don't we look at this pre-release video footage right over here. Alright, looks mostly the same, though as they mentioned, the HUD elements do look a little different. I think the ice cube with freezing the enemies also looks a bit different too. Here's 4-4. Still as annoying as it is in the final game. Alright, notice how the flag looks a bit different. Doesn't look like that in the final game. The platforms don't have the control-based thing like on whoever's standing on it. These platforms look a little different. Now the manta rays kind of look the same. In 5-5. Now those trees in the background aren't in the final game. Alright, notice how the colors for yellow and blue toad are a little different as well. They're inverted. I think the gears here in 1-Castle are different. That sign isn't there in the final game. Well, this is an early version of 5-3 with a different background. Plus the bramble vines or whatever they're called look a bit different too. That's the end of that. Some neat differences there. Alright, like they mentioned, World 5-3 using the grassland background are tile sets. Later trailers would show this level with the correct tile set in background. Likely it was only put like that as some sort of placeholder, as you can see here. Conclude as a placeholder, likely once the jungle background was finished. But anyways, here's some of those screenshots. Get a little closer look at them. And the font for the number of lives certainly looks a bit different as well. So this part over here, this gap here, it looks a bit smaller than in the final game, I'd say. Alright, here's 1-Castle. And this is 7-4, if I remember correctly. Alright, 7-5 with the Cloud Spirits, or whatever they're called. I don't remember those blocks being there in the final game, though. Alright, here's 6-6. And that star coin isn't there in the final game. Plus well, they could have brought those penguin suits there from earlier levels, but you can't get that in the final game. Alright, here's 1-2. And once again, Fire Toad over here with the yellow Fire Toad, whatever you want to call him. It does look a little different than he looks in the final game. Alright, here's 2-1. Even the star coin font looks a little different there, too. An early version of 1-Dungeon. Or Tower, whichever one you want to say. Once again with the early Fire Yellow Toad. And the star coin location is a bit different too, as well as the other tile sets looking a bit different as well. Alright, here's an early version of 1-3. With the red Yoshi. which I mentioned during the playthrough that initially, instead of light blue and pink Yoshi, we were going to have dark blue and red Yoshi. Honestly, I would have preferred the dark blue and red personally, but pink, light blue and pink are pretty cool too. Alright, I didn't mention this in the playthrough, but those penguins are actually called Cooligans. I just didn't think of their names at the time. Penguin Yellow Toad looks a bit different as well than he does in the final game. Alright, demo. Closer to the final, but still some differences. This demo was used in Nintendo's E3 2009 conference, on the E3 show floor, and in a room where GameSpot played it privately. It was also used at later 2009 trade shows, such as Gamescom 2009 and PAX 2009. And here's a bunch of other differences over here. So I shall pause again since there's quite a lot, and let all of you read it if you'd like, just so we don't drag on for too long. Alright, now let's see the trailer here. It's 15 minutes, I'm definitely not going through the whole thing. Let's just get to the gameplay stuff.
Wait, who was that? Who's Luigi? Luigi just died in the very beginning of it. Andy just died at the very beginning, so it's a great game.
You guys suck. You couldn't have let him have that mushroom. Whatever.
Vicious and start going against each other as well. It's a lot of mayhem, but at the same time, it's controlled chaos. The heroes going around, working together. Just four-player Mario. That is awesome. It is amazing. It's been a fun thing for all of us to be playing in the office on the floor. It's been amazing watching people go crazy with this game, seeing a new side scroll. It's been a long time since we had one of these with the classic characters. And here we got Yoshi.
It seems like initially it would only give you one Yoshi instead of multiple, like in the final game, depending on how many players are on screen, of course.
After the Goombas.
When is this coming out, Daniel?
That Starcoin's in the same location in the final game.
For everyone to get it for this around Christmas time, around that time, it'll be nice to get the family together as well. Friends been coming back for vacations. It'll be great for everyone to be playing. At the fire flower going. As you can see, one of the toads is picking up Mario. People can work together. You can grab your friends, throw them off at cliffs, throw them to other areas they can't reach otherwise. So.
And like, all right, so
The fireballs look different when using fire as well. I'm just realizing.
Mario games work. You run from the left to the right. You jump.
But you can actually go backwards in this game as well. You can actually go backwards if we go back together. So, I mean, the camera works dynamically as well. So
You killed him.
Someone's going forward,
You suck, man. Why'd you do that? And there's the red Yoshi. That's not in the final game.
But if everyone wants to go backwards, you can always go backwards as well. So it works out really great in that. Even when people are dying, you can still work together. People come back to life in little bubbles. Now you see we have red Yoshi now, and Mario's trying to throw someone off the edge.
Alright, let's skip through most of this. Check out some of the later parts.
The game will end and you start back over from the beginning of the world again. But those first, second, third, and fourth people go into the pipe and come out of the pipe. So you're always fighting to see who can get to the next, who can get to the area first. You'll see Toad. And if one person goes to the pipe, the other people have to come out. After 3 seconds, it kicks them back out.
And you got a yellow Yoshi, which is in the final game.
On the screen at the same time, all working together, eating at each other.
Really cool aspect of the game, huh? Oh, guys, why you do that? Well, anyhow, I wanted to say that Yoshi.
And that giant fireball looks a bit different than it does in the final game as well.
A fire flower that would shoot fireballs. Yoshi
Also
can
killed
grab
Mario.
it
God damn.
and spit it
And when you're
back
playing
out.
multiplayer in this game, that tends to happen quite a bit.
So, instead
I should
of
know from my own
just,
personal
the
experience.
standard approach that Yoshi would just ride 'em, every
Alright,
individual
that pink
element
flower
that
there in the
has
background isn't there in the final game.
Item or a person or an enemy can actually use elements against other things. So you never know what you might find if you just experiment around.
I see some of your colleagues down at the end of the couch waggling their Wiimote. What's that do?
Waggling actually. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, let's skip through more of this.
Remote, you'll grab the person, put them over your head, and you can then.
Alright, that's an early version of Coin Battle,
So yeah, that's why people see.
which I said sadly can't show in the playthrough.
Like that. And even at the same token, the competitive aspect that we keep bringing up is that at the end, actually, Dave Young just came in first place with one of the Toads.
Who's Luigi?
If I remember correctly, in the final game, I think whoever's the first player gets a crown instead of a star. Then again, it's been some time since I've seen it. Now let's go over this shot. Early version of 3-1. The Cooligans definitely seemed a bit faster. A little too fast. Kind of glad they did slow him down.
to get in trouble if I don't start throwing some questions.
Not exactly giving the player enough time to react to it.
James Cullen out of Swindon wants to know, is the whole game playable in multiplayer?
The whole game is playable.
Alright, that star coin's in the same spot it's in the final game.
Single player, so you get the experience both ways. It's great from an aspect when you have that full multiplayer for everybody. You can have the really advanced gamers playing with people who've never played a Mario game before at the same time and help each other out. Or, as I said, a bunch of advanced gamers playing and just really going at it, trying to knock each other down. So.
Is there more interaction besides picking them up and throwing them?
Alright, it seems that penguin suit didn't waddle around like it does in the final game, so likely that animation hadn't been made yet.
Helping each other to other obstacles, killing each other, obviously.
And cool guns apparently. Hey, the ice balls look pretty cool. They should have looked. They kind of look like that in the final game. They look more like snowballs. I mean, they both look nice, but I think I prefer the way these look.
A penguin suit, who's actually able to freeze things with his ice balls if he can.
Oh, there you go.
And the cool guns would start sweating anytime they're about to fall. You can see that right there.
There's different elements you can do. Let me see if I can try to get this penguin.
Where in the final game, I think they'd only sweat if you hit them first, and then they're falling while they don't have their glasses on.
You can't freeze your teammates, but now Mario's the only one.
Let's skip through that a little more.
There's also
that star coin's in the same spot.
So people can actually jump up the wall to stay alive longer.
The penguin suit's awesome.
So right now, JC's trying to get over here to the side. Oh, he didn't make it in time.
I saw that. That was awesome. You see Joe and Luigi over there?
Actually, right here's a good part. If you can get in the front.
Alright, this is a real neat sliding section. Hey, Blue Toad, come on, man. You can get your penguin suit as well. I guess he just really doesn't want one.
Some levels are designed like this, where you just slide. You have to kind of keep. Oh!
Tyler Beal asked a good question out of Guyton, Georgia. What are the different suits Mario can have? We see the penguin one. What else you guys got there?
So far, we have the propeller suit, which was shown at the keynote on the show floor. People have been playing the demo as well, where actually, when you jump in the air and shaking the Wii remote, your propeller top will spin up top of your head, and you actually get to higher areas you couldn't reach before. And in this one, we have the penguin suit as well. Those are the two suits we have so far. There might be more. We're not sure yet, so we'll find out as time goes by.
Peter Ho out of Kingston. That sounds.
Let's skip through this a little more.
At this point in time, so we have to wait and see what comes out in the future. So I don't know. We're still learning as well.
Hannah Israel wants to know any Wii Motion Plus functionality.
I think the ice even looks a little different as well.
It's just straight using the Wii remotes as is.
Skip those. Alright, here's an early version of 6-6.
So this is where it's a little bit more cooperative.
I noticed how there's a little toad emblem there too, which I think is different in the final game. Whenever one of the toads there have control over it.
Which you can see the little light changing from Mario to Luigi. The person who's on top of the boat.
And that's not in the final game where if you pick up coins from the blocks, you get extra points, like 10 coins or whatever. I think you still get the 100 points, but it doesn't show that in the final game.
You kind of work together at the same time.
And it's color-coded depending on who picked it up. It doesn't really matter since it all goes to the same point pool, but yeah.
Intentionally, but I think there was some of that going on over there. Almost goes without saying, but I'd be a fool not to ask. Niels Olav Korsmo out of Norway wants to know who's the villain.
And the Fireballs still have their previous look before their final game look.
We haven't revealed anything with the main villain yet, but the Koopa Kids are back in some of the demo boards. You actually can, right now it's on the show floor, people have been fighting against some of the Koopa Kids, which has been great. I mean, yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead. I was just mentioning too that it's the usual event. It's a nice classic adventure of Mario trying to save his beloved Princess Peach. So that's the idea behind it.
I think I know the answer to this one because everybody's using Wii motion controls down there. But Aaron out of Tempe wants to know, can you use the GameCube or Classic controller with this?
Alright, let's skip through this just to make this a little faster.
Question over because I can't get to new questions. This actually is a pretty good question. When being at a Will to Share wants to know, are there any co-op boss battles? You have to do some figuring, some strategizing with how you work together against bosses, or?
You don't want to hurt each other. Cooperative, yes, you have to work together because sometimes you're into the game.
Right now, I would say that a lot of strategy involved when you start really playing the detail. So it's really interesting.
Alright, notice how the Fireballs definitely look the same as they do in the final game. Luigi, it's up to you. Don't worry, he'll win by doing absolutely nothing. Oh well, never mind.
Running fast sometimes and just having to just run and gun through a board to make as many jumps as possible without stopping too much.
Dylan and Menard
An early version of 7-1.
How different is the gameplay when you're playing just by yourself versus playing with 3 other people on the couch? Is it just 10 times fun?
I mean, if you've been watching these guys play so far, it's crazy fun when you're playing with a bunch of friends. At the same token, it's a great experience by itself because it's challenging, it makes people work hard, it brings back those memories of playing on the NES system, on the Super Nintendo system, N64, all those classic games everyone remembers being challenged.
Alright, not too much different over here.
Daniel, so much.
And the
Thank
fire
you so
blue
much for
toad
coming
over
by.
here looks
JC,
different to the
everybody,
final
thank you
game
guys
as
for coming
usual,
by.
just like the
Dan,
yellow
thank you,
one.
everybody. Thank you so much for coming by. Really appreciate
Alright,
it.
and I think that'll be it
This-
for this one. Alright, and I can read some of these here notes as well. Grass. Bushes are green rather than yellowish green. The ground and grass semi-solids use a darker shade of brown rather than a paler shade. The ground and the ledges in the background seems a bit yellower. The snow areas. The darker stripes of dirt in the tile set is in the demo only light blue instead of dark brown. And the snow is shaded more and with turquoise instead of black. The gray question mark blocks and brick blocks were replaced with typical yellow and brown ones. And the background trees have more vibrant colors. In the mountain levels. Mountain levels use the brown underground tile set. The background has simpler clouds, along with a blue-green gradient sky. The mountains have more detail on them as well. Enemies. The Hammer Bros are there, and their hammers are slower and have a different animation. The hammers are slightly bigger, hooligans are faster and sweat while falling, as we saw. Level clear. In the E3 2009 demo, whenever a character completes a stage, the message level clear was seen. This was changed to course in the final build for unknown reasons. Course clearing because level clear, I mean, it could have been either, let's be real. Every character's victory animation is shorter. There are no star particles when the text changes color. And boss battles. In the first battle against Lyra Koopa, as presented in the E3 2009 demo, whenever he goes into a shell, he barely covers any ground. Likely because his animation for fully spinning across the platform wasn't fully done yet. The first battle of Morton Koopa was held in World 1-Castle in the demo, not in World 6 Fortress, likely before it was decided, hey, we're going to have him battled here instead. The level wasn't featured in the demo. In the demo, Morton doesn't have skewers stabbing the platforms to the sides. Instead, there were lava bubbles jumping out of the lava, which I'd argue is a bit easier to avoid. The design of the arena was different, as it was using the castle tile set, instead of the tower tile set that would later be used in the final build. In the E3 demo, the player drops from the top of the screen after they enter the boss door, as it did in the first game. In the final version, the player simply appears on the floor of the boss room. November 2009 PAX trailer. While it's based on the E3 trailer, it was taken using a later version, and the only levels that seem to have differences in the final game are World 7-4 and World 1 Tower. The control block in World 7-4 isn't there, or still isn't there, though the platforms are closer to their final design. The emblems are placed at the end of the tracks instead of on its lips themselves. The World 7-4 also uses the normal cloud background instead of the ones with lots of clouds. The fireballs are still different, and the moving rock platforms in the towers are gray instead of brown. And here's a closer look at that. Alright, notice how the HUD elements look closer to the final game now, in this build. Alright, and now those ice blocks are more rectangular and less square like they were in the previous trailer. Alright, this purple fish we didn't see in the old trailer 4-4, though the fireballs still look a little different. So use that. Just taking a bit of time to load there. Alright, another early version of 7-5, closer to the final, and now the flagpoles are closer to their final versions, if not are their final designs now. These platforms are still a little different. Alright, now these platforms are closer to their final design, though the pushing platforms in 1-Dungeon are still a little different. It still points in its location that it was in the final game, and as it stated, the fireballs are still a little different. Alright, now the fire toads have their designs that they had in the final game. So the ones we saw before. And now we have pink and light blue Yoshi that we see in the final game, instead of dark blue and red. Alright, the bramble vines now look as they do in the final game, as well as the jungle background being made. Alright, 7-4 is closer to, actually 7-1 is closer to its final design. Alright, and that's it for pre-released content over here. Next up, just a few notes. Alright, so one coin left over early 7 tower file differences. I can read some of these, but the rest I'll pause for a bit so you can read if you'd like. Alright, the zone height was originally 150 or 1,568 blocks. The final one is 1648 blocks. Alright, so about 80 more blocks than the previous design. Alright, the final boss door platforms layers was fixed, just that. A super glide block was added, or super guide block. And a lot of the brown moving platforms was increased in size and all that stuff. So I'll pause here for a sec so you guys have time to read it if you'd like. Alright. And here's some content of collection coin course slots.arc. I guess is its code for the different star coins in each of the different levels. Alright. Next up, Yoshi behaviors. Much to the disappointment of Super Mario World fans, New Super Mario Bros. Wii had Yoshi appear in a few levels, and you could not take them out into the world map. The only levels Yoshi appears in are 1-3, 2-5, 3-2, 4-5, 6-4, and 7-6. Water. Mario unmounts from Yoshi automatically without an animation when he gets into contact with water, which I don't think Yoshi even shows up in a water-based level. Yeah, none of the levels Yoshi shows up in a water-based, so you'd have to hack him into some levels for that to even see that. And automatically jumps off him without an animation because it was never meant to be done that way, that's why. It's kind of like in Super Mario Sunshine, if you go into water, Yoshi instantly dies. Anyways, poison, water, and lava. Yoshi runs away when, like he was hit by an enemy rather than Mario dying instantly. Yoshi never does die, he just runs away, and may fall off the level. Alright, platforms. Most do not start moving when Yoshi stands on them. If a platform is not in its list, in this case, in some cases this means the object did not react at all, and Yoshi just stands on it like solid platforms or terrain, or completely ignores them. Bramble balls, or to-do, whatever. Or bramballs, that's what they're called. Call them bramble flies, but you know what, who cares. World 6 Mountain, side steps, edges, glitchy behavior, and a lot of other behaviors over here as well. Funny, with Munchers, Yoshi runs away if made contact with them, but weirdly enough in Super Mario Maker, both 1 and 2, Yoshi will be immune to Munchers. And that's the most spike-turn period. But anyways, alright. Castle bosses, Yoshi can kill them with a ground pound, but it does not trigger a cutscene, and the game freezes when the battle is won while riding Yoshi because he does not have animation for the cutscene. So the game doesn't know what to do and just crashes. Tower bosses, same as castle bosses, but has unused animation for cutscene. Alright, Ice Flows does move along with them. Mecha Koopas does get hurt when he jumps on them, but you can eat them. You can eat them, but not spit them out. It can lick them up and spit them out like Koopas. All that. A lot of other unused behaviors that you will only see via hacking. So I'll let everybody read the rest of it since it is quite long, if you'd like. Okay, and just a few more notable ones. The giant dry bones found in 7-Castle. Just to do, whatever. Chestnut Goombas found in 9-7. Not edible. Fuzzies, edible, even the big ones, the ones that we see in 7-3. Cheap Jeeps, they can be eaten. Bloopers eaten, all that stuff. And jelly beams for some reason. I mean, that sounds pretty cool. Whatever. Next up, some slight bugs. Yoshi Berry Crash. In World 1-3, you can eat the 5th fruit and hit an enemy on the same frame. Yoshi is programmed to switch to an animation called Run in the code, which doesn't exist. Yoshi's running animation is called Run. So the game crashes. This bug was fixed on the Korean, Taiwanese / Hong Kong and NVIDIA Shield version of the game. Also shown in this excerpt handling, and before we look at that, here's World 3-Tower or Dungeon boss battle tile sets, where it uses these tile sets and then has this collection detection data. The ground in the World 3/Tower boss battle is only icy on the left half. The platform is split up across 2 rows, and whoever added the ice effect forgot to apply it to the second road. Not like you probably noticed that in the final game, to be honest with you, but here's what it looks like. As long as the top part where you're actually standing on is slippery, then that's what really matters. Because you're not going to be inside of it, or you're not going to have the slippery effect under it. But anyways, this is from a YouTuber that I know of called Skabo. I've been watching since high school. I really think you guys should watch this person. But here's one of their videos. Alright, and once again, the HUD fonts, the Mario's Live, Star Coin's normal coin count. It's closer to the final game. Come on, man, you don't miss the Star Coin. What am I talking about? I missed quite a bit of Star Coins during my playthrough and had to go back to get them later. Alright, now the Fireballs are closer to the final game. And it's just buffering. Apologies for that. I guess this is what happens if you eat both a Koopa and a berry at the same time. Or at least in the same tongue swing, it looks like. Or just as you're over the Koopa and the game crashed. Because I guess the game ate the berry, but also the Koopa was in the way, and the game didn't really know what to do there. Yep, that's how you know they're playing it on emulator. Alright, but you saw that little bug there. Alright, well that being said, I think that'll be it for this edition of Unused Content and Games. Tune in next time where we will look at unused objects, unused level features, and even some unused graphics. And just like this over here with the unused features, or even just the unused objects, depending on how long it ends up being. But anyways, if you all learned something new and enjoyed and you want to see more, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. And consider answering the question of the day as usual for these types of videos. What unused content that we went over today would you have liked to see in the final game and why? For me, maybe the dark blue and red Yoshis instead of the light blue and pink ones. I would have preferred those personally myself. But answer that question of the day if you'd like. And consider becoming a YouTube member for $3 a month for wonderful bonuses such as ad-free experiences if you'd like. Anyways, thank you all for watching, see you in part 2, and have a berrific day.